All right. All right. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. We ready. Uh, uh, uh. That's the Jay Z. What more can I say? I heard a couple people stealing that, like newer rappers, and I'm
Mm.
like, yo, this is kind of crazy. Like y'all even take like the warm up joint in the studio. It's like wow, like you gonna take the dudes like or uh, like y'all just take it word for word. It's crazy, man. But welcome to the Pick and Roll Podcast, episode 6. We are live. It's me. It's your boy C Mill, and it's your boy
Super Dave.
Super Dave is here. He has a mask on. All right. We encourage you people to wear your mask when you're out. We're trying to be socially distant, socially responsible. He's got the shirt for his men's league that he runs. He's the commissioner. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to investigate how he got the team he got, but it's all good. It's all good. I think the team I'm putting in is Upset City.
Look, yeah, y'all got a
Solid
chance.
ball
Y'all
players,
got a
man.
chance to make some noise,
What I like is that we have size now. Usually I'm playing with other midgets.
and you're the big.
Exactly. I'm the big. I'm PJ Tucker. I be wanting people to know, like, they be like, oh, Chris, you be getting some fouls. It's because, yeah, y'all break containment, and I got to run over and slap somebody in the arm when they drive it to the basket. Or I got to get down there and bang with somebody. And I think I've crossed that bridge where I'm not really trying to bang with anybody on the court anymore. Like,
Right.
not bigger guys like that. Like, I'll bang with guys my size and a little bit bigger, but you're not going to put me in a low post against, like, Leno or somebody, one
No.
of the big men that we usually play with. Big Paul. I'm not doing that no more. Big Paul's getting fouled, and he has to go to the line. If you're 6'4" and up, I'm fouling you, and you're gonna go to the line, and you're gonna have to earn it.
So that's on record.
That's on record. Look, we get pro rules, right?
Yeah.
So for the people listening that follow the men's league and that play locally, we got pro rules. So we're doing 4 quarters.
Yep.
We're doing 10-minute quarters.
Yep.
Okay, we're doing 6 fouls.
Yep.
No zone defense.
No zone.
I'm one of the people that can stay in front of most people. A lot of people, listen,
They're gonna struggle.
they're going to struggle at first. They're going to have to get it together. But,
NBA 3-point line.
NBA three-point line, too. That's another thing, too. Like, a lot of guys like to chuck these threes, but I don't think they realize you got to have the legs and the upper body strength and the shoulders for that. Like, and you got to have a clean release.
To do it consistently.
To do it consistently, you need airspace because a lot of you guys can't elevate above the defense. But I can't wait till the league starts. We're 11 days away or something like that?
Something like that. April 11th.
April 11th, man. Get it together, y'all. Get it together. I'm out here
Sunday
getting in
night
shape.
basketball. 8:30 p.m. First game.
That's right. That's right. I'm down about 6-7 pounds. I'm about to go get a little more work in today. Injuries. I'm managing pain, but we getting there, man.
Yeah, man. League looking good. I know a couple of rosters already. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Rosters
yeah.
are put together real well.
Yeah, me and my team are getting some runs in, familiarity. So a couple of guys will be there tonight. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, they don't even realize when I'm playing with them, I'm driving up the intensity. I got a mouth.
You do.
Yeah, so they like to say little things to me, and I'm like, oh, so this is what you want to do. I'm taking people out their game already. So listen, and this is a public service announcement. If you want to make me the focal point of all your trash talk, go ahead. I'm not the dominant player. I'm an impactful role player. That's who I am. But I will gladly take you out of your game if you feel like you're a dominant, highly impactful player. I have no problem getting a technical foul. I have no problem sending a message early with the fouls. I will hard foul. I have zero issue with that. I'm here to tell y'all. The best thing for you to do is just let me play.
Yeah.
You do not want to engage with me.
Yeah, there's some people that fall right into your trap.
They fall into the
Yeah,
trap
you
every
got it.
time. I got one of my own teammates. I ain't gonna say his name, but I got him a few days ago. And then I was laughing at him as I'm doing it, and I'm looking to the sideline like, why do people test the Joker? You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I will cut deep. But, and it's all in the spirit of good fun. I don't hate anybody. I'm not out there to try to rumble or anything like that.
I don't pay you no mind.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'm 5'7", shoot over me. Like, I'm giving y'all the game now. But your release better be clean because I'm in there. You know what I mean? I'm in there. I'm up on you. Like, I play a different brand of defense, and the referees respect it. So these are, I don't want to hear no complaining. I play a different brand of defense. That's all. But I'm happy that you're here. You know what I mean? You rocking the shirt.
Yeah.
Anything else going on with the league that the people need to be updated for?
No, we touched on everything. You know what I mean, I just want guys to be ready for pro rules.
Yeah.
No zone, NBA 3-point line, 8 seconds to get it over half court.
Yeah. Shot
Shot
clock.
clock.
Yes, the shot clock. I'm loving it.
So, I'm excited.
Let's go.
Ready to tip this off.
Yo, right. I'm definitely excited too. If you're South Jersey, look up the Super League, follow it on Facebook, add it, and y'all catch future leagues because this is definitely going to continue. You know, I think this is going to be the league that people are going to want to join, and I see it growing in the future, like having a full field, almost like a pro league.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, man, I can
That is
see
definitely
it.
the goal.
I can see it, and it's messed up that I'm approaching 40.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I was 25, this would be perfect.
Right.
But I'm approaching 40, and it's only a matter of time.
Yeah,
man.
we don't got much longer.
Nah.
Oh, God, Lord.
I'm trying to get my chip now.
That's it.
You know, we know a lot of old ballers that just foul and complain. Like, I'm not even trying to go out like that. I'm going to respect the game to the end. I'm going out on my shield, yo.
That's it. You out there going to play like Kyle Lowry, just running around, jumping and running into people.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm going to respect the game, man. But since we on basketball, let's start. Controversial finish last night in the NCAA women's tournament. Now, with, what was it, 1.6 seconds left,
Mm-hmm.
Baylor guard drives. She gets approached by two defenders on her way to the basket. No foul is called. In your opinion, because that ended up being the difference in the game. Well, really, the difference in the game was Baylor's point guard pulling her hamstring in the third quarter. That was, to me, what allowed UConn back in that game. But in your opinion, should that have been a call?
Before we start this, you know I'm a UConn fan.
I know you're a UConn fan, but let's take off the Gino Auriemma jersey. Let's take off the Gio Auriemma, the big finger, and let's be objective here. Do you think a foul should have been called?
Yeah, it was a foul.
Tell me why.
Verticality, like
The lane of the plane of verticality.
they didn't go straight up. Like you could see both defenders' arm went forward. One hit her in the face, one hit her on the arm. It didn't help. It didn't help Baylor's guard because when she ran into the wall, she was trying to do like a fadeaway heave shot.
Right.
So that didn't help her, but it should have been a foul.
Well, and that's my point. I agree with the refs not calling it. By the letter of the law, it's a foul.
It's a foul.
But in her case, she was so close to the basket, rather than trying to draw contact, I don't know how much closer she wanted to get. Those were two bigger defenders. She could have stopped and pulled up, kissed that off the glass. She could have shot the floater. The floater was there. She had the look. I think she went in a little too close looking for contact because the way she cocked the ball back forced the defenders to put their arms forward to try to get a hand on the ball and get a block. I think that's and it was the form she shot, and that her intention, her intent wasn't to get a clean shot off. The ref swallowed the whistle.
I mean, yeah, but if you're gonna call that foul in the first quarter, you have to call it in the fourth.
I don't think you call it in the closing moments. Not with those two Titanic teams battling it out.
But
you gotta swallow the whistle.
But there were missed calls on both ends.
All game. It was a physical game.
Right. In the first half, at that very basket, Paige Beckers from UConn went to the basket and then tried to do a layup and got fouled, and they didn't call it.
I feel like in that game, from watching as much as I did, it was mandated that they let those two teams play because these are the more talented teams. These are probably the two best teams in NCAA women's. So you're going to get a much cleaner, more athletic, more explosive offensive game. So they had to let some defense in there so you could really display how great these two teams are.
Yeah.
I don't want to see an over-officiated women's game. I just don't. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see over-officiated sports, especially basketball, but the women's game, they got to let these women play.
Right.
You know, and I think they do kind of over-officiate a lot of the games with touch fouls, little elbow taps and things like that. I'm happy with the no call because if you're Baylor, I understand their coach is angry. You guys were up 10 points when your guard went down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that's a hole on your roster where one player goes out, you just can't function offensively, that's you got to look at that as your issue.
Yeah, I think Baylor really lost that game. Like you said, they were up 10 points, and then you allowed a 19-0 run. Like you can't do it.
You can't do it at all. And that was the thing. It's like you're up, then you lose the lead, and then you go down considerably and you have to battle back. Your team showed resilience in those moments, and they made a lot of tough physical shots leading up to that play.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm like, okay, so is it a problem when it doesn't work? And I would never, even in the men's game,
Right.
you don't depend on a foul in that moment because they're never calling it. In the men's NCAA tournament, these are NCAA refs. They are never calling that foul. So that's where I look at it and say, you know what, Baylor, it was a great game, one of the great games I've seen in recent history
Yeah.
in college basketball, period.
Men's or women.
Men's or women.
Mm-hmm.
Men's or women. So shout out. You know, men or women, that was a great game. Shout out to Baylor and shout out to UConn. Paige Becker she's a juggernaut offensively.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got the handle. She can shoot off the dribbles. She can spot up.
Freshman.
She can penetrate. Yeah, that is wild, man. That is wild.
Yeah, she's looking like she's already probably one of the best players in UConn history.
Yeah,
Already.
Yeah. You know, the bar is at like.
The bar set pretty high.
Yeah, Taurasi.
Taurasi, Maya Moore,
Maya Moore, yeah.
and Breanna Stewart, like that bar is high.
Yeah. But Paige Becker looks like the offensive juggernaut. She's just good as on offense as any UConn player I've known under the Gino Auriemma regime.
And she's good as advertised. Like
Yeah.
the hype leading up to her coming to college is real, and she's living up to it every time
Yeah.
she step on the court.
Yeah, and that's dope. So shout out to UConn, and I want to see if they follow it through and win the championship. Do you see anybody standing in the way of UConn?
No,
Yeah,
I think Baylor was the last chance.
yeah. That was definitely the best two teams. I had a discussion with B Mac about it today, and I'm a fan of no calls, and you got to get a cleaner shot off than that. Float that thing up there, hope for a lucky roll if it's not straight through, or hope for a tip in.
Like I know it was like the ref swallowed his whistle, but let's say they do call a foul.
Yeah,
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
On a backup point guard, 2 free throws to win a game.
right.
It's a lot of pressure.
That is a lot of pressure. People, like, to complain is like, I wanted a chance to lose that game at the line. Do you really want to lose that?
She still gotta go to the line and make them.
Oh, right. Do you really want to live with that? Because it's a lot of guys living with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ask Chris Webber. You know what I mean? Ask a lot of these guys over the years. So guys and girls, you know, it's tough. It's tough. But that's been all the controversy. Even Gino Auriemma, like, look, it's a tough call. Even he admitted it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the men's for a second. We got the Final Four set. What team?
No, Final Four not set yet.
Oh, it's not set. So
No.
tonight is the last set of games.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's playing tonight?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga's playing tonight.
Gonzaga is playing. Who is Gonzaga playing? Be what you.
Yeah, I don't have my information with me.
Gonzaga's playing USC.
Okay, they're playing USC. I think Gonzaga rolls.
I think Gonzaga rolls. And
Yeah.
UCLA is playing Michigan.
UCLA is playing Michigan.
I think Michigan rolls.
Yeah. Michigan and Gonzaga are advancing tonight. Houston. I got to look at that game. Oregon State fought, man.
Mm-hmm.
They fought. I thought it was dope. I like how they battled back and they made it a game. You know, they definitely turned up the pressure on Houston. Houston responded as the higher seed team should.
Yep.
But shout out to Oregon State, man. That was a good game. I got to catch large portions of last night. And it was crazy. It was like Oregon State was down like 13. Next thing I know, they're down 6. Next thing I know, they're down 4. And it was like, oh, you know, like this might be a game. And, you know, you could tell they were at an athletic and skill disadvantage, but they turned up the intensity and they were just out hustling Houston for large portions of the second half. So that's definitely a moral victory for Oregon State. But yeah, man, we gotta wait to see how the Final Four shapes up. Oral Roberts almost did it, man.
Oral Roberts almost did
They
it.
almost did it.
Almost did it. They had a nice little lead on Arkansas too.
Yeah, yeah,
But
man.
Arkansas just proved they were just too big.
Yeah. Better athletes,
Yeah,
just better
yeah,
players all
just too
around.
big.
But Oral Roberts, their top guys really held them in that game. And when that last shot went up, I had to give Arkansas's coach credit because he said they ran the same exact play earlier that year, and that's a hell of a researching you do. That means they didn't take Oral Roberts lightly.
Because they played Arkansas early in the season.
Yeah, and he said they ran that same exact play. They studied the film. The players seemed to be briefed. They knew what to do, and that was a great finish to that game.
Yeah.
That's what the NCAA tournament is about.
Yeah.
It's about the unpredictability, and they have what no other sport has is unpredictability the way they have it. It's just volatile, and it's hard putting your money on it. People always ask me when I tell them I'm checking out college sports, they're like, do you bet on it? I said, no, these are kids, first of all. And then also, like, they're on an even playing field pretty much, for the most part.
Mhm.
Even though, like, a top team can get clipped by a no-name if the no-name plays a perfect game. But at least there's a puncher's chance for everyone in that tournament because that's how it's basket. It's a purer form of basketball.
It's exactly what they call it. March Madness. It's madness
Yeah.
in the tournament.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like,
So
anybody could be beat.
yeah, man. And so are they letting fans into the Final Four games?
I believe so. It's been fans at some of these games now.
Yeah. I know there's fans there,
But you want like
the football stadium, are they going to do that? I know they're not going to go full capacity, but are they going to do
They
the
might.
huge stadium?
they might. Yeah, it's gonna be at Lucas Oil.
Oh, so it's going to be at Lucas Oil Field?
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering how many people they're going to let in there because I've always felt like that's had an impact on the way the Final Four is played. I've watched a lot of Final Fours, and I feel like a lot of players fold up under pressure, and the game isn't as clean. Because, first of all, the dimensions of the court that they're playing on, the court is elevated where the football field normally is. And then you got 80,000 people in the arena. And it's just not like, it feels massive, and it feels intimidating even watching it. I couldn't imagine playing in the middle of the Georgia Dome or AT&T Stadium in Dallas. We see that stuff all the time. And I'm wondering if that component is going to be there because I remember being in Atlanta watching the Michigan-Louisville Final Four when they were playing in that game. And I just remember seeing a lot of players that I thought were going to be highly successful just kind of fold up under that pressure. Like they don't really play well.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pressure bust pipes, and there's a lot of guys that like to talk, but then when that pressure's staring them in the face,
Yeah.
they crumble.
Yeah, when you're playing in front of 65,000 fans and you're on an elevated court and you don't have the usual gym dimensions, especially if you're from a school that doesn't really have a stadium. You play in kind of a smaller indoor arena that's between
Nice and cozy.
Yeah, nice and cozy. Yeah, you got a wall, at the baseline, you got a wall full of banners and you don't really have fans there cussing you out. Or you're always in friendly confines in a conference where you're not really challenged. You're going up against that whole school's fan base, and they're showing up. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out this year with COVID. And it's going to look kind of weird too, having all those empty seats. So I'm interested in seeing how this is going to go. Sticking with basketball, this was one of the bigger NBA trade deadline blitzes that I've seen in a while. It seemed like we hit that 24-hour mark and the league just went nuts. So let's talk about some trades.
Yes.
Orlando Magic, Chicago Bulls. Essentially, the trade was Nikola Vucevic for Otto Porter, Wendell Carter, and draft consideration, correct? How do you feel about that trade, being the Bulls fan that you are?
I love it. I love it on two reasons. One, we get rid of Otto Porter.
Yes. That is the only contract his contract is worse than Al Horford's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Al Horford actually played.
Right.
And he wasn't the same Boston Al Horford when he went to the Sixers.
Yeah.
But he played. Otto Porter just was always in a suit. Like, we give you
Yeah,
$28
man.
million dollars to do nothing.
Yeah, man.
So I'm glad we got that out of there. Um, the Wendell Carter experience, that needed to end.
I liked him, but he never quite panned out.
Right. He never took that leap.
He never got good at one thing.
No.
I thought the defense was going to carry him, and then the rebounding would follow, and then eventually, as Chicago filled out the team around him, you'd see some low posts, some putbacks, some dirty work. I kind of saw maybe some Andre Drummond of a couple years ago in him, and it never materialized.
No. And we get a guy that's a walking double-double.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what we get. That's something we need. We needed, like, everybody knows Zach LaVine's our scorer.
yeah.
Kobe White can score, but we needed somebody on the block that can get us an easy bucket. Thaddeus Young should not be my best big man.
He shouldn't. And Thaddeus Young's a little long in the tooth, too. He's been
So-
around quite a while in the NBA.
Shout out to Thaddeus Young, but he should not be the best big man on the team.
Yeah, he's a
Now-
hustler, man.
Now we have a guy that once the offense gets stagnant, we could, all right, let's go down to the low post and get a bucket.
Well, in effect, you can play through Nikola Vucevic.
Yes.
I think that's what's important, that Chicago needs somebody to play through. I think Zach LaVine has shown, in my opinion, he's not a number one. He's a number 2/3, in my opinion, if you're trying to build a team. And Nikola Vucevic has done it against the best and carried Orlando to they were an improving team.
Mm-hmm.
They just made a couple bad moves this last offseason. One of them was giving that contract to Markelle Fultz, which pretty much sealed a lot of the moves. And then once this season went to the tank, there was no way they saw themselves recovering from this in the short term.
Orlando turned into the Florida Marlins. They got a Florida Marlins type
Fire sale. Yep, that's what I put on Facebook. I said, yeah, Orlando in typical Florida fashion, man.
Everything must go.
Everything must go, man. So they also traded Evan Fournier to it escapes
Boston.
me. Boston. Explain to me why that move might make sense for Boston.
You're getting a bigger guard. All of Boston's guards are small. Like, the biggest guard they had was, what the hell is this guy's name? The defender, Marcus Smart. Like, and he's not a really good offensive player.
Yeah, but my thing about Evan Fournier, he's 6'7", but he's not like a big guard, and he's not really defensive.
No.
But he is a creator on offense.
Uh-huh.
He can get his own shot. But how many creators do you need in Boston before you're going to go out there and get you a legit big man? They trade Daniel Tice also. And they effectively got smaller. Tice does a lot for them. I didn't think that they should have, removed Daniel Tice. You need to be adding front court players to that team in particular. And that's been a problem ever since Kyrie left. You had Morris go, you had Horford go, you had Aaron Baines go, and you've never really replaced them. You've had like Semi Ojeleye
Yeah.
and who we just talked about, Daniel Tice. And then you go to Kemba Walker, who's now starting to get old. Age is starting to set in on him,
And he's small.
and he's small. So who can Kemba Walker stop defensively? The injuries are starting to pile up. He can't rely on athleticism, explosion, all of the things that got him by in previous years. And that's been one of the things where I don't quite understand how Evan Fournier helps you compete more in the Eastern Conference the way that it is.
The way the East is set up now, Evan Fournier is not going to help you. But the only positive I see in that is, like I said, Boston gets a bigger guard.
Yeah, and he's definitely a guy they may be able to hold on to, but there's only so many basketballs on that team. And if I'm looking at the way their offense is run, it's either Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum.
That's it.
Who's going to take the shot? Pass the ball to one of them, they decide what happens with everybody else because the point guard really is a non-factor in that offense.
Right.
So I'm wondering X's and O's wise because Boston has been struggling lately against a lot of just decent teams. They've been struggling with bad teams. Like their offense is disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't made the decision whether Jason Tatum is going to be the volume shooter or Jaylen Brown. And they've allowed Jaylen Brown to rise to the level of Tatum as far as pecking order goes.
I think Boston as a team, they shoot way too many threes.
I think that's every NBA team, but that's me. I'm old school. I like a 79, 75 game. But they especially shoot too many threes, and a lot of their threes aren't coming off of assist. It's just like one pass, shot goes
Yeah,
up,
they shoot bad threes.
especially to be a team that can't rebound.
Right.
That's what concerns me about the Boston Celtics. If I'm a Celtics fan, I have a problem with the Evan Fournier acquisition because we haven't addressed how we're going to defend the next team we're going to talk about, the Brooklyn Nets. They've already got Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. Durant's hurt for an undisclosed amount of time. I'm not sure how much of that is injury or they're just managing him. But then they go get Blake Griffin off of a buyout, a guy who I think has basketball left. And then they go and get LaMarcus Aldridge off of a buyout. First of all, here's the conversation around this is super team. Is it fair? Should they have gone there? Are they taking the easy way out? How do you feel about those two guys joining that roster with those superstars there?
It doesn't bother me that Blake and LaMarcus went to Brooklyn because of sure, everybody's gonna start screaming out super team, or they're building a team to beat a 36-year-old LeBron. But just a couple years ago, everybody was saying Blake and LaMarcus was washed. So now that they signed with Brooklyn, now it's a super team. Now the team is stacked because it was already a super team with KD, Kyrie, and Harden.
That is true. I've had a lot of people, especially Sixers fans in the groups that I talk to, they've told me they don't want Blake Griffin. I said, we need a backup power forward. Blake Griffin is as good as it gets because there's still offense there. There's still rebounding there. And there's still athleticism in that shell of what he used to be. I read a scathing article where they talked about the downfall of Blake Griffin, and I didn't agree with a lot of that.
Right.
Just because somebody wrote it who says they're an expert does not mean that is true.
Absolutely
because
not.
You're starting to see, Blake Griffin can dunk. Blake Griffin can catch lobs. Detroit decided to move on from him. They want Jeremy Grant to be the franchise player.
Yeah.
That's what they want. It wasn't Blake Griffin's fault.
No.
He did what he had to do, and then they sat him down so he wouldn't get hurt. So you have a rested Blake Griffin that just needs to meld and gel with Kyrie Irving and James Harden because Kevin Durant can play with anybody. Kevin Durant will figure it out. If he played in Golden State and figured that out, he can play with anybody. So I don't believe I don't believe Blake Griffin took any easy way out.
No.
Not a lot of teams were knocking at his door, even after the buyout.
No. Like I said, if he would have went to, let's say he signed with the Sixers, nobody's gonna say he went to a stacked team. They would have just swept that under the rug. But just because he went to, and LaMarcus went to Brooklyn, now the team is stacked.
Yeah, for the Sixers, in my opinion, it made perfect basketball sense.
Yeah.
Embiid comes off the floor. We had Tony Bradley developing, but then we traded Tony Bradley to acquire George Hill, which we'll talk about in a minute because the Nets thing is so much happened there. But it would have made perfect basketball sense, and I wouldn't have said Blake is taking the easy way out. I would have said he's going to a situation where he's actually being put to use because I saw the Detroit situation for what it was. They moved on from him. There was no decline. He wasn't like, they're acting like he's Tree Rollins in year 20.
Right.
Like he's Cartwright at the end. Like he's Dino Raja.
Robert Parrish.
Yeah. Like you're not looking at some scrub. You know what I mean? He's not Tyson Chandler at the end of somebody's bench in 2018.
Right.
This is a guy that can still give you a double-double night to night. He scored 17 the other night, and I think that's about where Blake is. 17 and 9, 17 and 8. And then if he has to start, he can give you 18 and 12. And then with James Harden and Kyrie Irving, he can give you 23 and 12. It might be his night to eat if they're playing against one of the teams with smaller front courts that aren't good. You put Blake Griffin against the Kings, he's going to eat because they can't defend him. So that's the thing. I don't necessarily say it's a super team.
No.
LaMarcus Aldridge coming there is mystifying, though. I understand the complaint about Aldridge because he refused to lessen his role anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And there is nothing in the world that makes me think he's going to start at the 5.
In Brooklyn, no.
I don't get that because the lack of defense there. They have to start DeAndre Jordan, who to me is on his last legs in the NBA.
Yes.
Because the lack of offense, the last thing he can do is just body up and play defense.
Mm-hmm. Just get in somebody's way.
Right. What do you see LaMarcus Aldridge's role as being with the Nets?
I think he's gonna come in for about 25, 26 minutes. I think that's his ceiling right now. 25, 26 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Get his usual touches.
Right.
You know what I mean, but he gotta adjust. Like, I'm not Portland LaMarcus Aldridge anymore.
Yeah.
I just need to come into Brooklyn, fit in, and ride this wave.
And I see him operating a lot off the high post. Them operating, because you're having your lesser players operate around LaMarcus Aldridge. So it's going to be a lot of high post looks. He's pretty much going to be quarterback in the bench unit. He's going to be running a lot of pick and pops with James Harden, who plays the majority of the minutes on the bench. James Harden, I want people to know, James Harden might be your MVP this year.
Yeah.
Because Kyrie's out, KD's out. He dogged it in Houston to get to Brooklyn, but he's gone to Brooklyn and kept that franchise afloat.
But I think it's going to be hard to give it to him because of how it went down in Houston.
Morally, the NBA
Yes.
should not allow him to get the MVP. The
Yes.
writers have to take a stand here because you don't want that to be a precedent. Like, a guy can cheat the game and then go. Because he cheated the game.
Yeah.
You cheated the fans. You cheated the game. Like, we're not hating on him. It is what it is. People pay money to watch this team. They want to support the team. And the guy got to show up and do his job until they find a trade. But he forced his way out of town, and he's playing fantastic. But back to the LaMarcus Aldridge point, I don't think he puts them over the top in the East.
I don't know. I think they were already like the favorite in the East. I don't think LaMarcus moves the needle.
I don't think he moves the needle much either. I think he's, at this point, he's a bench player. LaMarcus Aldridge is another player. If he goes to the Sixers, people aren't saying that.
No.
Because his role would be, grab rebounds, make yourself a force, we'll dump it down to you, get a couple cheap buckets.
If he goes to anywhere else
Yeah.
besides Brooklyn, they're not saying this.
LaMarcus Aldridge will be operating out of the high post, shooting 18-footers when teams are stopping other guys from driving off the pick and roll or the pick and pop. That's what he's going to do. He's going to turn into what veteran power forwards are. And then against smaller guys, he will get down there and get a couple cheap buckets and get to the line, against the Richaun Holmes of the league.
Yeah.
And
I thought, me personally, I thought LaMarcus should have went to Miami.
yeah,
That might have helped Miami a slight bit. That would have been an upgrade over like Myers Leonard and Kelly Olynyk that they had before.
definitely, because Aldridge is not going to get pushed around.
No.
But also, he will get ran off the floor.
Yes.
If you're playing an up-tempo team,
You can't play him.
no, you can't.
No.
You
play
can't.
him.
He's gotta be able to just live between the foul lines.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that I if you say the Nets are the favorite, I'm okay with that. They're supremely talented. They have 3 of the 10 best players in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. But the Sixers are rolling.
Yeah.
And I want people to know the acquisition of George Hill was big because we needed a backup point guard. We gave up a backup power forward, and now we're seeing Dwight Howard is mentally unstable again, and he keeps getting tossed out of every game, and I'm upset. But that shows our need for another backup big along with Dwight Howard because it's nothing but G Leaguers waiting in the wings.
Since you need a backup big, should the Sixers kick the tires on Boogie Cousins?
You need a backup 4.
Okay.
And that's the problem. I don't see Boogie Cousins being able to play that backup 4 role. I know a lot of people love his game, and I think there's a reason why he's still out there. Like the NBA, he's been labeled.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see anybody in this season. If you're a contender, I don't see anybody taking the chance on him.
Okay.
Because the offense just isn't there. For what he does well, The offense is not there. And Boogie Cousins, he can't put the ball on the floor for you and get to anywhere.
No,
And he's
no.
not really the most cerebral player. He's not a dummy. Like, he's not basketball dumb. But the Sixers need a sound power forward with a nice floor game.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody that's not going to be out of position too often. So Dwight Howard and Boogie Cousins pretty much do the same thing. Their numbers will look the same. There's no point. And also, Dwight Howard's in a lot better shape, and he's a lot more of a defensive presence. Now, if they get Boogie Cousins, if anybody can make it work, it's Doc Rivers. But at this point, as it stands, the Sixers have been rolling. They've won like 80% of their games without Joel Embiid. And Embiid is coming back this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a 7-game series against Brooklyn, hands down.
Possibly.
Because we've improved our team and got deeper without having to give up any of our core.
Right.
We gave up a developing player and another guy that we never should have picked up, Terrence Ferguson. I don't know what people saw in him. I just kept hearing he jumps high. A lot of people jump high in this world. They go to the Olympics. They don't play in the NBA. So, you know what I'm saying? But I'm looking, and I said, I don't think the Nets put together a super team in the East the way LeBron did in Miami.
Right.
It's more like it's not even Boston, because Boston was a very deep team. People like to say that was a super team, but it was just a deep team.
Yeah.
Ray Allen wasn't the Ray Allen that real basketball fans know. He wasn't the franchise two guard anymore.
No.
KG and Paul Pierce had much more left in the tank than Ray Allen.
Right.
And the Celtics, if you go back and look at that entire roster, you had the infant stages of Tony Allen, you had Kendrick Perkins, you had Glenn Big Baby Davis.
James Posey.
Yeah, James Posey. There was so many people on that bench.
Leon Poe.
Eddie House. Yeah. And then they got Brandon Bass later on, right?
Yeah.
So they were good for a while, but they were a very deep team.
And when people compare LeBron's big three in Miami to Boston's big three, they all wasn't top 3 in their position
No.
when they got together.
Exactly.
Ray Allen wasn't even a top 10 shooting guard in the league when he got to Boston.
He was a spot up 3-point shooter.
Yes. KG was top 2 or 3 at power forward. That's
Right.
it. Paul Pierce wasn't nobody until KG and Ray
Until
Allen
the
got
big
there.
three got there. That's a whole nother conversation, because in the era of Iverson, which Paul Pierce directly existed in,
Yes.
he was not one of the top guards or wing player, however you want to classify him.
No.
It was not him.
Him and Antoine Walker kept getting bounced either by Iverson in the Sixers or J. Kidd in the Nets. They kept
Exactly.
getting bounced by them two teams.
They were just putting up shots up there in Boston. That's all they were doing, was putting up shots.
That's it.
They were putting up, between them, 50 shots a game.
It was open gym.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was run and gun.
It was rec ball with referees.
Right. I want to say they had like coaches like Jim O'Brien, just guys that run wide open offense and stuff like that. And they weren't that good. So when people say this Nets thing, and as much as I dislike the Nets as a fan, I'm not going to apply super team to them. I do think it's dangerous, though, that the NBA has guys who dogged it out of franchises go and build up these other teams, though. That's something they're going to have to address, because also the money that they took is much lower than what guys usually take even after a buyout.
Mm-hmm.
And the Nets are a team that, if all's fair, they shouldn't be able to afford both of those guys. They should only be able to afford one.
And they still have room for one more player.
Right. Right. But in their defense, they've been running with a shorthanded roster all year, and they've still been winning. So the other teams have to look at themselves and say, you know what? Maybe we need to start building out our rosters and stop depending on stars.
Mm-hmm.
Because Philly is number 1 in the East, and they didn't go after that third superstar. They decided to improve what's around Joel Embiid and Simmons and improve their roles and improve like what they do and make them improve as players. So I think that's what teams need to focus on, and I think the fans need to just enjoy the playoffs.
It's going to be hard to beat Brooklyn, though.
It is going to be hard to beat Brooklyn.
Hard to beat Brooklyn.
But you know what? In a 7-game series, depth matters. And the Sixers, to me, have the deepest team in the NBA. That's out of all the top teams, their roster goes the deepest. The challenges I'll take is Utah. I say Utah is probably the only other team that's as deep as Philly that has a chance. Even though they kind of give me Hawks vibes, '08 Hawks, or
Yeah.
no, I mean 2014 Hawks.
Yeah.
Like I don't see them really sustaining in the playoffs. But
No.
not too many teams are that deep. And I think the Sixers' two best players are enough to beat 85% of the NBA.
If we get a Sixers Nets playoff series,
We're gonna get it.
if the Sixers jump shots are not falling, I think you get blown off the court.
Here's where the matchup comes to. And this is why I tell people, ease up on the super team. DeAndre Jordan historically cannot do anything with Embiid.
No.
LaMarcus Aldridge now and historically can't do anything with Embiid, especially now. That is your backup center.
Right.
Joel Embiid is playing 35, 36 minutes this year, and he's playing MVP ball, and he's shredded every defense that's been in front of him.
Right. So now when Embiid kills them, who is gonna stop Brooklyn's three?
Oh, you're talking about hard. See, because I don't think I saw Matisse Thybulle shut Blake Griffin down this year.
Yeah, we're not talking about Blake.
Yeah. Blake Griffin can be stopped.
Yes.
You know, he has a very limited arsenal.
Yes. I'm talking about the three alphas.
Ben Simmons, possible defensive player of the year. That's your defender on either James Harden or Kevin Durant.
I think they would have to
Put him on Harden.
yes because he doesn't have enough defense for Durant.
But the fact we retained Matisse Thybulle, that's another body to send at Durant or Harden. And he probably has the best defensive hands in the NBA.
But then you have no guard that's going to stay in front of Kyrie.
We're hoping George Hill brings some of that.
Again, you have no guard to stay in front of.
What I'm saying is, George Hill was a solid pickup, but he also, your second unit doesn't have the defenders, if you're the Nets, to defend the Sixers second unit. Because we can stretch the floor around whoever we put out there at big men. Shake Milton is a bucket. Kork Maz is looking to be a bucket. Danny Green's going to get his at some point because he gets his by hustling, and he's always in the right spot to make critical threes.
You have to know what Danny Green you're going to get.
That is true. I say this. If you look at the amount of points needed to win a game, the Sixers need to get about 55 points from Simmons and Embiid. And you need Embiid to be 30 a night. Embiid. He can't show up and give you 18 unless it's just an ugly, scrappy affair.
Not against the Nets.
He can't. He has to show up, but he hasn't given me any reason why he wouldn't show up that way.
Embiid needs them 30, 40 point games against Brooklyn.
Right, but also we're gonna need 18 to 20 out of Ben. And here's the thing: Ben is the number one point creator in the NBA.
He's just when Embiid's on a court with him, he's just not aggressive. He's not.
When he's running with that second unit, he creates so many shots for other people.
No, I get it, but but what I'm saying, like when they're on the court together,
yeah.
Like you said, you need 18 to 20 from Ben.
Yeah.
In them games,
I think he'll be able to get it in transition. Because here's what I say, when that ball, if the Nets miss a shot, he's lost a little bit of a step with the Achilles injury and with the hamstring. He's been kind of slower this year defensively. Ben's got to really attack because that's who they're going to put on Ben. Harden's not going to defend Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons will eat him alive. So KD is going to have to defend Ben Simmons, and it's going to be very important that DeAndre Jordan stays out of foul trouble because Blake can't do anything with Embiid.
No.
And neither can LaMarcus Aldridge. And that's it.
I mean,
now you're going to Jeff Green to keep other guys out of trouble.
I mean, it's not too many bigs in the league that can hold Embiid.
Yeah, I think Embiid is the ultimate 7-footer.
Yeah.
Right? I think talent-wise, he's all time.
I've been saying this for the past couple of years with Embiid. Embiid can really be this era's Shaq.
He could.
Like there's no big that can stop him from doing whatever he want down there.
And I think that's what Doc Rivers has him playing. That's why he's got him playing MVP ball. Embiid, it's been mandated that you're the guy that eats first and you eat often. If
Yeah.
whoever you see in front of you, go after them.
That's what you need to do with your big man.
Yeah.
You need to make sure the big man eats.
I've never seen him dunk on so many people as he's done this year. He got hurt. That was one of the hardest dunks I've ever seen in my life when he dunked on old boy from Washington. And I thought it was kind of dirty too, because like you have no chance of blocking this. So all you're doing is undercutting him and changing his landing. It was kind of like, one of Washington's, bench guys. I thought that was kind of cheap, but it is what it is. But that was it's going to be very interesting to see. So we both agree that Brooklyn's not this all-time super team.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I was like, anybody want to race LaMarcus Aldridge in a 94-foot court? Be my guest. You're probably going to win.
Now, like these people, they're thinking Brooklyn's getting Portland LaMarcus Aldridge.
Oh, no.
And Clippers Blake Griffin.
And they might be getting David Aldridge.
Right.
We don't
You're
know what
like-
the dude
you're
looks
not-
like.
You're not getting these guys. Like the Lakers signed Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
Drummond averaged 17 points, 14 rebounds. That's more than Blake and LaMarcus combined.
LaMarcus Aldridge, DeAndre Drummond would have made more sense if I'm Brooklyn because I can leave him out there.
Right.
Actually, I would start him over DeAndre Jordan.
Yes.
Because he's going to get you dirty work points and he's going to clean the glass up the entire game. And that would let DeAndre Jordan rest on the bench and come in there and whack the shit out of people.
Mm-hmm.
Just whack people, foul them, do whatever. I thought that would have been a better pickup. Andre Drummond to the Lakers, everybody's talking about that's a response. I don't think that's a response to the Nets. That's just we need a big man because
Yeah.
Marc Gasol has gone over the hill.
Yes.
Yeah, it's over.
And Montrezl Harrell is not big enough.
No. And Montrezl Harrell just doesn't have enough offense to go to.
Mm-mm.
Not that Andre Drummond has a lot, but there's a lot more sound rebounding and low post play
Yes.
you're going to get from him than you'll get from Montrezl Harrell.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of those pickups that were just like, that didn't really register.
No.
That one didn't hit.
Mm-mm.
Another trade I didn't care for, which I don't understand, but I'm not a Nuggets fan. Gary Trent Jr. for Norman Powell.
No. Norman Powell went to Portland.
No, Norman Powell went to Portland. Who went to Denver?
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon. I didn't understand that. I don't think Aaron Gordon's the player that people want him to be. They say he gives them like defensive prowess, and there's the athleticism. I get it. But his offense also never rounded out, which is why he's out of Orlando on a team that needs guys.
It's Denver made the move for Aaron Gordon and JaVale McGee
Yeah.
because remember last year in the bubble, they had what was it, Miles or Mason Plumlee?
Yeah.
And they had Grant.
Right.
They lost those guys. You see, Denver was struggling, so they needed something similar to that.
But here's what I'm going to ask you about Aaron Gordon. Is he engaged if he's not given opportunities to score? Because he shouldn't be getting the looks he was getting in Orlando.
No, he's not going to get the looks that he was used to getting, but maybe he'll be a little more energized because you're playing on a team that's going to go to the playoffs.
Yeah. Man, you're playing for a winner. But they say like he's going to up their defense and against LeBron. I don't see it.
Only because that's what Jeremy Grant was doing in the bubble last year. He guarded LeBron. He didn't shut him out. Like, you're not going to shut LeBron out,
Yeah.
but he got in his way.
Right.
When you took Grant away, you were left with Michael Porter Jr., which doesn't play any defense.
No.
Gary Harris, he plays defense, but he's small.
Right.
Jamal Murray doesn't play any defense.
No.
So when you bring in Aaron Gordon, he's just a body.
Yeah.
He's a bigger body that you can throw at someone.
If you're looking at Denver in the West, does he increase where they stand in the West?
Nah.
Because Rondo just went to the Clippers, and the Clippers are rolling.
Yeah.
They just smoked. Who did they play last night?
They beat Milwaukee, I think.
They beat the doors off Milwaukee without Paul George.
Yeah.
And they just beat Philly. Even though it's without Embiid, Philly was playing well. I'm not going to take that win away from them. They're rounding in as a veteran team, a top veteran team with older players. They're rounding in the shape.
Yeah.
This is something you got to watch. So when I say that move, I didn't really care about it. The Nuggets and the Blazers moves were, It's like, I don't think that elevates you at all in the West. Norman Powell's a guy to me, right? And to me, his perfect situation with his activity and his hustle and a lot of the things he did, and he's an energy guy. That works in Toronto because you got nothing but energy guys, and that's what you do. You outrun and out hustle and outplay other teams. I'm looking at, him on the Blazers, and I'm saying, what's going on here?
Same thing. You're just getting a bigger guard that's gonna play some. He plays better defense than Dame and CJ.
Yeah, but who's he taking off the floor to play?
That is a good question.
That's what I'm saying, because you got Robert Covington. That's a real defender. He's long, he's athletic, and he shoots threes. Norman Powell is not known for his shooting. He can shoot it, but
he's been playing a lot better in Toronto.
Yeah,
because he's been getting a lot more shots.
They moved a couple guys out there, and he got his opportunity. Over the last couple years, player movement has allowed him to get opportunity to play. But I just don't like that. Those trades were just like, are you guys just trading to trade?
Yeah, I just think condensed season, and they were just like, we're gonna see how many trades we can get in at this trade deadline.
Yeah,
a lot of them, like you said, was head scratchers, and a lot of them actually help someone either now or in the long run.
Yeah, I didn't understand the Denver trade. I get what they're telling me, but if I'm Denver, that doesn't move the needle, and I don't want to acquire Aaron Gordon.
No,
because I don't want to keep him.
Yeah, that's not going to put you over the Lakers or the Clippers.
No, not even the Suns. I don't think they're better than the Suns right now.
That's not going to put you over. But
being in the middle of the West is not a good place to be.
No,
because there's the top 4 teams in the West, then there's everybody else. You're getting smoked in the first round,
and you might with these
in
injuries. With these injuries that LA's having, you might get the Lakers in a 4-5 or a 3-6 matchup.
Oh boy! And then you're gonna get a motivated LeBron and an Anthony Davis that is resting and recovering.
I'm not gonna say you're gonna get a motivated LeBron. You're just gonna get a well-rested LeBron.
Well, I think that's the motivated LeBron.
Yeah.
Look, this is a mid-season sabbatical.
Yeah.
That ankle, listen, I've seen worse. Yeah. And I know he's 36. Like me and my pops were laughing. That was an old man injury.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't roll with it.
Yeah, I've had injuries like that.
Yeah, everybody's had it, but it's like,
But I just tell you this, the NBA will, anytime you get an ankle injury, they're gonna classify it as a high ankle sprain.
Right.
Because it wasn't really a high ankle sprain.
No.
He came back, he hit a 3 in the corner and jogged down the court. A high ankle sprain, you would rather break your ankle than have a high ankle sprain.
I've had a high ankle sprain playing sports, and it's tennis ball time. You know what I mean? Your ankle look like a tennis ball. It's swollen.
So if you had a high ankle sprain, you're not running.
Yeah,
you're not jogging back.
I wasn't walking right for 3 weeks.
No.
You know what I mean? It was bad.
No.
It was ice, elevation, rest. Ice, elevation, rest. You know what I'm saying? So that's what does they say? Ice, compression, and elevation.
Right.
That's what you need. Yeah. Rest, ice, compression, elevation. That's what it was. Those 2 trades were just like, what the hell? I didn't get them. Another trade that, if you asked me before the season started, would have made sense and helped Miami, I would have said, yeah. But Oladipo to the Heat doesn't move the needle for me.
I think it does. Well, it's not. You're not going to beat the Sixers or Brooklyn, but that gives them someone other than Jimmy Butler that can create his own shot.
It's Oladipo 100%.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, because we didn't get to see really anything in Houston. And my thing is, I fear that Oladipo's career is maybe on a Danny Granger trajectory. Like, we never got to see the best of him.
Mm-hmm.
And this desire to want to move around and kind of go against the grain. I need to go here. I need to go there. I think the best thing to do is get yourself back to 100%
Mm-hmm.
and start showing people you can play so you can end up in the best situation.
Right.
I don't see, like, and my problem with Oladipo now is there continues to be bigger two guards coming in the NBA
Mm-hmm.
and a lot quicker guys.
Mm-hmm.
And you are undersized and already, that was already an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the East. I just don't see him staying in front of a lot of these guards and wing players and being able to defend them out to the wings. Like, and I like Oladipo, I do. I just don't know at what stage in his career he's at. That was another one. But the Rockets, doing what the Rockets do, man.
Yeah, just getting rid of everybody.
Yeah, man. I want to shout out Russell Westbrook. He's playing good basketball for the first, well, no, I'm not going to say for the first time in his career, but with the Wizards.
Yeah.
They're playing well.
Yeah.
He's playing professional basketball.
That was some big numbers last night.
I wish I got to get the sound effects going because I want to just give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
He put up big numbers, but they look like a good basketball team in the making if they can convince someone to come there and help them or make a couple of key moves in the
Yeah.
offseason.
They need a solid big.
A center, a space eater, like a guy that can protect the rim. They have Thomas Bryant, but he's been hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're right.
They need a big.
And if you're not gonna go a big defensive center or power forward, get a rim runner.
Like
They could use a Clint Capella.
a Jared Allen.
Yeah, like that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I could see them building that team and actually getting themselves back in the playoff discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy watching Russell Westbrook figure it out on the fly. And even though he knows his situation is not optimal and not where he wanted to be at this point in his career,
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing him engage and try. And Bradley Beal needs that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Bradley Beal continue to be engaged. I don't want him to go crazy and fall out of the NBA because he's been playing in Siberia. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that, man.
Siberia.
Yo, nobody wants to see that. Man.
No, man. It's like like the Wizards got that bad John Wall cloud still hanging over them.
Man, that might be. What's a worse contract all time, John Wall or Rashard Lewis?
I think John Wall's.
Rashard Lewis was a bad contract. They thought he was the truth in Seattle.
Or you could compare that bad contracts to any contract that the Knicks gave somebody.
Yeah.
Jerome James.
Oh my God.
Jerome James got paid off of one playoff series.
Well, and they also say Stoudemire's contract was that bad too because they knew his knees weren't going to hold up much longer. They had the medical reports, and they decided to cash Stoudemire out.
The Knicks are known for signing bad contracts.
Yeah,
Larry
man.
Johnson, Allen Houston,
Yep.
Latrell Sprewell. Like they just within the last 3 to 5 years, they just got finished paying them guys.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, we're talking about bad contracts. They're definitely up there, man. The Knicks are in the Hall of Shame for a lot of the contracts they've given out. But John Wall, man, I see the NBA media try to, hey, look at John Wall does this thing. But then I go on Instagram and I see other pages where he's getting dropped with crossovers.
It's over for John Wall.
And it's over. And I've told people, John Wall is what happens when you don't master your craft. You go a lot of years depending on athleticism and ability, and you don't master your craft. This is what you get. You become John Wall.
Yep.
For all the young players out there and everybody, if you get to that point, never stop developing.
Mm-mm.
I know the money is good, but
Work
you
on
will
it.
end up
Work on something.
being the second best player to Christian Wood on your team. You'll end up with a rookie coach. You will lose 21 games in a row. You're going to be in a bad situation. And that's it. You just got to develop, man. Real quick, LaMelo Ball might be coming back. That was encouraging news. They said he might not be done for the season.
Okay.
He had the procedure. Now, I think I'll save this. I was going to talk about the Timberwolves just randomly since we're on the NBA because I saw them last night, and I was like, there might be a glimmer of hope.
They
there.
look like something.
They look like something. I'm like, Anthony Edwards and Carl Anthony Towns, they might be able to do something.
They look like something.
Look, they're 11-30 something right now, but I saw them last night. They put up a fight.
They look like something. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But what were you gonna say?
Who was it? Kendrick Perkins said Kyle Lowry was the best Toronto Raptors player ever.
Moving along. Listen, man. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm trying to make the comparison, but Kyle Lowry is the most.
He was never the best Toronto Raptor on his team.
I want to say the most loyal Toronto Raptor.
That's
Let's
it.
say he stayed up there, so the NBA rewarded him. I'm just going to say what nobody else is going to say. He stayed up there, so the NBA was like, look, we'll keep you in good standing.
Oh, my God.
Like, that is absurd, man. That is absurd.
When he said he was the best player in Toronto Raptor history, I had to, like, turn my TV. I had to turn the channel.
But see, here's the problem. Because he won a ring there, and he's been there longer than anyone else that won that one ring, they're giving that to him.
Right.
And this is why I think some people weigh rings too much. You're not going to tell me he was better than Tracy McGrady at the time they traded Tracy McGrady.
No, he wasn't better than Tracy McGrady. He wasn't better than Vince Carter. He wasn't better than DeMar DeRozan. He wasn't better than Chris Bosh.
No, not at all.
He wasn't better than Kawhi Leonard. And Kawhi Leonard's 1 year in Toronto.
Exactly. Valanciunas, he's like in that area. Like, Valanciunas had some good years there.
Like,
Was
he better than Damon Stoudemire?
I don't think so. I think they have like a similar career as far as like players and talent level and all that. But because Kyle Lowry stayed there, they're lifting him up. That is an absurd statement. I don't know. I don't even know what to say to that anymore. It's just like Draymond's greatest defensive of all time. All right, if you want a ring, you can say whatever you want in the NBA. Right. That shit don't fly in the NFL.
No.
You get called out. Or in boxing because you held a belt once. Now you're as good as Jake LaMotta or Muhammad Ali. Like, it's absurd. It's absurd. That upsets me.
Yes.
That upsets me. It's not a whole lot happening. NFL finalized the 17-game season.
17 games.
On one hand, I say, oh, that's good for the fans. We get an extra week of football. But what's that going to mean for injuries? Guys can't stay healthy as it is. They got to expand the rosters.
I think they're going to expand the rosters. So since they added one more game, is that one less preseason game?
I believe so.
All right.
I believe the original plan was to go to 18-game season and then to have two preseason games or to eliminate the preseason altogether. That was at one point. I don't think they should do that.
No.
Because that's where you find a lot of hidden gems.
Yeah.
And guys that franchises actually need. You
need at least two.
Somebody needs to see some live rounds out there on the battlefield to see it. But I think there's going to be one less preseason game. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
No.
I mean, even though I'm used to it. But 18 games, man, we'll see. They got to expand those rosters. These guys can't stay healthy as it is. So yeah, that's in the news. Nothing else really happened in the NFL world. The Deshaun Watson case is still ongoing. It's another allegation that he's deleting Instagram messages and trying to ask people to settle, but the lawyer said that's not true. He hasn't deleted anything. So there's a whole lot of confusion there.
Then the Houston police say the lawyer for the ladies never came forward with no.
He still hasn't provided any information.
No.
This guy's a serial predator, but and all these people are willing to come forward. They're just not willing to go to the police.
Right.
And there's nothing to be afraid of if your story checks out.
Yeah. At this point, it's looking like a money grab. It's like they all just want money.
It's definitely a civil matter, and I think the NFL needs to take a long look and say, should we suspend him for a long time? We know he's getting suspended.
Yeah.
But should this be a long time? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it should be long. We could talk about the trades, though. The Dolphins are playing PS5.
Yes.
And they are acquiring draft picks.
Yes.
I honestly think they're going to get Deshaun Watson.
Do you?
There's no other reason to have as much draft capital as they do because they wouldn't even be able to afford to sign a lot of these guys. And honestly, what are you trying to put around Tua? You didn't believe in Tua last year, so you benched him mid-game. Then you get rid of your insurance policy against whatever Tua might not be able to do by sending Ryan Fitzpatrick on his way. You get rid of Kyle Van Noy because money issues. I think Miami needs a supreme talent, and the best way to do it is at quarterback. And especially in the AFC East, you just saw New England load up. You know what my Buffalo Bills are.
Your security blanket is playing the Jets.
Exactly. Tua is not going to be able to compete with. I don't care what weapons you put around him. It's unfortunate for him because I'm not saying he'll never be a good quarterback or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But also with his injury history, I can't conceive a situation where Miami would want to go into the season with just Tua around him.
Right.
Like, you have these first-round picks for these future years. The only reason it takes to have these multiple first-round picks for the next 3 years is to trade them and get you a Deshaun Watson.
Or Russell Wilson.
Or a Russell Wilson. Give some other team a future. Because you have how do I put this? You have way too many holes to fill with those picks. And if those don't pan out, you're still stuck with Tua in a league where the quarterback is everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they're amassing those picks for.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do trading out of 3.
Yeah.
They traded from 3 to 12. And
Right.
then traded from 12 back to 6.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
And for some reason, the Eagles got involved. I have no idea. They look like and then the report came out, they were trying to move up and get a quarterback, and now they decide to finally stay put. So I told people they don't believe in Jalen Hurts. He's being set up to fail.
They wanted to trade. They wanted to trade with Miami,
Yeah.
but Miami didn't like. They wanted to go up to 3 to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
They didn't have what Miami wanted,
Exactly.
so they made the deal with the Niners. So I don't know why Philly would trade them down.
But that completely contradicts what they said, that they want to give Jalen Hurts a chance.
Right.
You're not giving Jalen Hurts a chance if you're trying to bring in a quarterback at number 3.
Yep.
This is what I'm saying. The setup.
And now
I see it.
And now Philly has 2 first rounders for next year. And then it could turn into 3 if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps.
And he's going to.
And he's going to.
Yeah, because no one likes Jacoby Brissett.
So now they're figuring the Eagles might put something together for Russell or Deshaun Watson, because they got three number ones next year.
But I see Miami has whatever you can give them, and it would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
They can give you 2 first-round picks for the next 3 years, along with, they give you 6 first-round picks right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Houston, I'm not turning that down.
No.
So you put Deshaun Watson on that roster, you legitimize, your number 1 receiver, Devontae Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go use your 2 through 7s and all the middle round picks they have there, and you start drafting and filling out your roster.
Yep.
But you can't just draft and fill out your roster and think Tua's going to carry that. And then who's your backup quarterback right now? That is the question.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Philly, they went and signed Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's taking that job.
Really?
Yeah, he's taking that job. They don't believe in Hurts. They just tried to get a quarterback.
By week 3?
Week 6.
Week 6?
Week 6. It's going to become so unbearable. It's about to get dark, Philly fans.
Yo,
Eagles fans, it's about to get dark.
I'm about to jot that down.
Week 6, he's out of there.
Where's my notes?
I don't think Deshaun Watson sticks around in Houston because they've signed Tyrod Taylor, who is the ultimate bridge quarterback.
Yes, he is.
He's only there to get your next quarterback. He is a bridge. Tyrod Taylor is a bridge. When he comes to town, he's starting. Only for a limited time only. Houston's looking to draft a quarterback. They're going to draft whoever, and that guy will eventually supplant Tyrod Taylor. If he didn't get his liver or his lung punctured by the team doctor, he would have got, he was going to get benched regardless. It would just.
I just jotted that down.
Okay. Week 6.
About week 6.
He's out of there. You know what I'm saying? Remember it. Jot it down if you're listening. I'm right. He's at week 6. He's out of there. Jalen Hurts will not be starting. This fan base does not care. This team may go 1-16. I just think they're that bad.
Oof.
2-15, 3-14. It's going to be Rich Kotite bad.
Oof.
And this is what I'm telling people. Like, they lied to the fans. And Howie Roseman is a hack. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he's the next to go because Jeffrey Lurie is going to have to make a business decision. And everybody's going to see it wasn't Carson Wentz. It was a failure that started at the top.
Mm-hmm. Just a few years ago, everybody was praising Howie Roseman. Oh, Carson got a bunch of practice squad guys to the playoffs. Harry Roseman's pulling all the right cards, and now
Yeah, and you know why? It was because there was a lot smarter guys in the room. You had Frank Reich, you had Doug Peterson, you had Jim Schwartz there. You got guys that have experience being around successful franchises and helping build franchises. You didn't have, Howie Roseman just up there. He's not, Bill Belichick or Scott Pioli.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's just him and Bell. No, there's a collection of guys who are telling you exactly what you need and what to go get. And also, the players that you needed were available at the time you were able to get them.
Yep.
Guess what? There's nobody available, and now you got math problems. Your $33 million cap hit this year on Carson Wentz. You're not telling the fans that you're tanking. The fans are understanding it, but I don't think they realize how bad it's going to be. Jalen Hurts is not ready.
They're trusting the process again.
Listen, man. Listen. It's going down, man.
So Philly fight for the #1 pick.
Philly's fighting for the #1 pick next year. I guarantee it. I think they get swept by the NFC East. They go 0-6 in the division for the first time in a long time.
Let's go for it, Giants.
Listen, I'm in total agreement with what the Giants just did, with the Cowboys making the first smart decision they've made in years, and then possibly actually doing something in this draft and getting some players they need to fill out that defense.
Mm-hmm.
I could honestly see, that the Eagles getting swept in that division. So, well, we'll see how that plays out, man.
Yeah, man.
We'll see how that plays out. So, it's not a whole lot going on this week. So I guess this is a good stopping point. We chopped it up this week. Anything else you want to touch on before we go? Any last words?
Did you see Oscar De La Hoya coming out of retirement?
Who is he fighting?
I don't think they announced it yet.
Brain damage is real.
Yes.
I don't want to see old boxers fight. Like Evander Holyfield saying Tyson backed out of a real fight. Tyson's smart.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the money.
No.
Tyson's got a whole podcast and TV and movie deals.
Cartoons.
Yeah, cartoon. And
Cannabis.
Nobody's trying to get punched in the head.
No.
This man's 55 years old.
I was talking to somebody last night, and somebody was like, "Oh, De La Hoya needs the money." I'm like, "Well, no, he doesn't need the money." I'm like, I just don't want to see somebody like him get hurt.
I don't want to. Yeah, it's an unnecessary risk. And for all the people that say they want to see Tyson fight, well, you see him on the streets and you fight him. You know what I mean? I watch that. I don't want to see him in the ring. I don't want to see Evander Holyfield, who doesn't speak the best.
I think Holyfield needs the money more than Tyson.
Exactly. So when Holyfield was trying to put it on him, acting like he's scared, and they need to settle their grudge once for all, Tyson has moved on.
Yeah.
I think you should too, Evander.
Yeah.
So that's it. But yo, this is a Pick and Roll podcast, episode 6. Super Dave, C Mill, follow us. We're at the Indio Group on Facebook. Check out the Instagram page at Indio Group. I'm about to spam a lot of people, and we're gonna really push it this week. And just stay tuned for more episodes, more podcasts, and we appreciate everybody that's supporting us on the live. Keep watching the Facebook live feed, and in a couple days we'll have the 4K feed uploaded to YouTube, so people will be able to watch it in its entirety in 4K rather than the streaming definition. So yeah, man, and everybody enjoy your week, enjoy sports this weekend, and we'll holler at y'all next week. See you later.